Good morning, y'all, or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Today, I'm going to do a live video on the Just for Today for the date, May 20th. Today's base topic for the Just for Today is today our lives are much fuller. And before I get rolling on the topic, I'm just going to, introduce myself, what I'm about, where I'm from. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm a part of Breaking the Chains. It's a group that I started with my sister-in-law. It was a dream of my mom's to start a recovery house, and she wanted to call it Breaking the Chains. So we're kind of carrying the torch for her since she passed away, and we want to start our own recovery house called Wendy's House in her name. But our group is Breaking the Chains. We got a group page you can go follow, you can go like it, and we always post our videos in there. We also have a YouTube channel. It's the same thing, Breaking the Chains, and we post all of our videos on that channel. So, if you like the material or you saw a video from us or me or her and you like it, there's much more content on the YouTube channel. So you can go to the YouTube channel. If you're bored or if you need a message and you can't get to a meeting, it's all organized. It's all labeled. If you're looking for a certain topic, the 12 steps are on there. We covered that. We got a little bit of everything on there. And we also, our events, we do 2 events a year. So one of the events we do is, we usually do one in the spring and then one at the end of the summer. And our events we raise money for Restoring Hope in Women. It's nonprofit. Everything that we make, 100% of the proceeds go to that organization. And, we basically just try to help, women get into recovery. If they have trouble getting to bed or they don't have the money to get in, we try to help them get in. Jewel is very active when it comes to that. And I kind of play the background. I play my role. I'm not so much hands-on with, getting the women settled in and all that jazz, but Jewel is a little more active when it comes to that. But our mission is to eventually open up our own recovery house for women, and we're working towards that goal. I'm hoping it can be like a 2-year process. So that's kind of what we're working towards. In the meantime, all the money that we raise goes to that organization until we get settled and we get more of an action plan. Then the money that we raise is going to go to our halfway house and our recovery house. So now that all that's out of the way, if you want to buy t-shirts, I'll share this out to her. I'll get her to come in here and comment, and I'll get her to tell you how. But we also sell t-shirts, Breaking the Chains on the front. It's hands breaking chains, and then on the back it has "In Love and Memory of My Mom." If you want to change the name, if you lost somebody close to you, you can change the name. If you want to take the back part off completely, you can also do that. So just keep that in mind. It goes to a good cause. We don't profit off of it. So now that that's out of the way, today's topic is today our lives are much fuller. And it's I mean, a truer statement can't be said. If you're in recovery and you're clean, you're sober, and you're doing the work, hello Brandy, you can start to see how much more complete of a person you feel. It may not happen right away. There might be some growing pains in the very beginning where you might feel worse. You might feel worse than you did before. And I talked about that before. Like, all those emotions start to set in on you, and you get nervous, and now you're like, oh shit, I gotta actually, do life. And it can be kind of sketchy in the beginning, but if you just stay with it and keep your head down and keep moving forward, eventually, you'll find out how much better your life is. So, for me, my wife just had my second daughter. So for me to come on here and do this live, and this is the message, it's quite the message. It's personal for me because I didn't want to have kids when I was, drinking all the time and fucking up and going to jail. And I'll put I'll put Jewel in the link, and she'll let you know. I'll get her to reach out to you and let you know how you can get a T-shirt if you want to get one. I'll tag her in it when I get done and I share it out, and she'll post all the links. She's good with all that shit. I don't mess with all that. So as soon as I get done, I'll get her on here and she'll help you out. Um, but anyway, so I've always liked kids. I've always had a connection with children. I've always really liked children. Um, I got two goddaughters. I got two nephews. Um, and now I have two children of my own. So I'm finally getting to live my dream of, being a father. And, I have other things I want to do, like opening this recovery house and, helping people turn their life around. I like to help people with fitness but my biggest thing is my family. It always has been. It always will be. My family's always came number one for me. I put my family before a job. I put my family before anything else. Um, but one thing I didn't put my family before was drinking, and it came at the expense of a lot of people that were close to me, and that lets you know right there that this is not something that you need to be doing. Like if it makes you, if the path you're taking or the life that you're living makes you go against your moral code and your code of ethics and who you want to be and who you represent, then you have to kind of look at yourself and say to yourself, is this shit really worth it? Um, and I started to figure out too, like real quick, um, what was I fantasizing about? What was so great about being drunk all the time? Um, we hang on to that party phase a little too long. In the beginning when we're young and we're releasing our inhibitions and being spontaneous and being unpredictable. It's fun, you know what I mean? If you're living a little dangerous, it's fun when you're young. But eventually, you got to grow the fuck up, and you start to find out that the party's over. The party's been over. The party's been over for years and years, and you're still hanging on to the party. You still have it convinced in your mind that it's still a party when it's not. You don't have very many friends anymore. Um, Everybody looks at you different now. Uh, you're doing it by yourself. That's not a party. You know what I'm saying? And towards the end, I solely, for like the last couple years, I solely was a by myself drinker. Where the fuck is the party in that? You know what I mean? Because I alienated everybody else. I pushed everybody else away. I didn't want nobody to judge me. So I just drank by myself all the time. What's up, James? What's up, Carrie? Um, and when you're drinking by yourself or you're getting fucked up by yourself, it's not a fucking party, is it? A party is, more people, multiple people. And what happens is, you start to push all your people away because they used to drink with you, right? You know what I mean? Your friends used to get fucked up with you. But as they matured and as they progressed and as they knew their limitations and you never did, they're like, man, I don't want to be around this dude, because I don't know what the fuck he's going to do. Um, he might turn on me. I don't know what the hell's going. You never know what the person's gonna do in a situation. Um, so it got to a point where, none of my friends even wanted to be around me anymore when I was drinking. So I had to just drink by myself, and I don't know, what people's drugs of choice are, but if there's any drinkers on here, um, it got to the point for me where I was pretty much teetering on blacking out within 2 hours of drinking. Um, every time, almost, just about every time. Um, you know, Once in a while I might pace myself, and I might last for 6 hours, but for the most part, I'm done in 2 hours. I'm not coherent. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still drinking, still walking around doing shit, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't remember it. Um, and there's no fun in that. There's no party in that. Um, and we that's I feel like that's the biggest thing. When you get into recovery, you got to let go of the fucking lifestyle and stop romancing it in your head like it's something that it's not. Because we have these young memories attached to it that we hold on to and we ignore all the other shit. Um, And anybody that's been in recovery for a while, that's got some good, clean, and sober time, or you might even be new in it and see how much better your life is. You can just see it. You're not looking over your shoulder no more. You don't wake up not knowing what you did. Um, you're starting to get your relationships back on the right track. Um, you might be growing or progressing in your career or what you want to do for a living, or you may just be just now finding it, figuring it out, what you want to do. And now that you're clear headed, you can aggressively work towards it, and nothing's going to get in your way because you're not getting fucked up anymore. And a lot of us have this false perception like, our lives are so hard, and, we start to convince ourselves that we're drinking and we're doing drugs for all these other reasons that we're really not. Um, there's always somebody around the corner that had it harder than you. There's always somebody right next to you that's been through worse than you. It's not a fucking competition about who had the hardest lifestyle and why that justifies you fucking your life up, because there's no justification for it. You see people all the time who started from the ground and built a fucking empire because they didn't get sidetracked by stupid shit, and they didn't make excuses, and they didn't settle, and they didn't let anything get in their way when they easily could have given to all the same um, negativity and all the same bad things that you did. Nobody's above it and nobody's below it. Everybody, it can happen to anybody, but it's all about the choices that we make. And I see a lot of times, for whatever reason, I've talked about it before, people like to argue, and people like to debate about whether it's a disease or a choice or an addiction or whatever. I've always said you can call it whatever the fuck you want, but the fact is, your life is built upon choices. I don't care what you say. Your life is built upon choices. The choices that you make, every single choice you make has a consequence, whether it be a good one or a bad one. And I feel like if we sit around trying to figure out why we do it, we're wasting a lot of time when we could just work towards the solution instead of trying to figure out the problem. You know what I mean? Congratulations, Carrie. Stay with it. If your life's not better right now, it will get better. I promise you that. Um, I know a lot of people, they get clean and sober, and then, they get so overwhelmed. And a lot of times it's because they get clean and sober and they just like sit there and obsess. And when you're trying to recover, and you're trying to live a life that's, a recovery life, you got to stay active. You got to work. You got to stay consistent with your program. You got to make sure you got a good foundation. Like, you got to make sure your ground is solid underneath you. If you don't have a foundation, you're probably going to fall. And to me, a foundation can be as simple as you have a program that's mapped out that works for you. You've sat down with somebody or even by yourself, and you've written out things that you shouldn't do that'll have negative results, and you sit there and you write down things that will help you. Like one of the things for me, I work out all the time. It's something that just keeps me busy. It's cheap therapy. I could go in the gym and be pissed off or upset or depressed or whatever, and when I leave, I don't even remember how I was feeling when I walked in there. Um, you get all your aggression out, you kind of dump all your emotions and leave them in there, and it's healthy, it's beneficial, it's a win-win. Um, so that's one of the things that I do. Something else I do, I write. Um, it kind of lets me leave everything on the page, and then when I get up, it's gone. I can walk away. Um, that's something else that helps me. Um, I try to be aware of the things I say about myself and the things I say about other people. Um, nothing is gained from putting down somebody else. You get nothing out of it. You actually just speak negativity. And whether you speak negativity on your life or somebody else's, it's probably going to circle back around to you. So just be aware. Try to become more aware of what you're doing. Try to become more aware of the person that you're being. If you find yourself, you know, harboring those old habits, and you might get clean and sober, and you might find like, hey, I'm kind of still the same person, you know, and that's something you got to identify and work on, and something you got to try to change. Um, if you're the same person sober that you were when you were drunk, or if you're the same person clean as you were when you were high, you got a lot of fucking work to do. Um, you need to get to work. You need to get a foundation, get some good people around you that are seasoned in recovery, and you need to start to evolve as a human, and you need to start to evolve as a person, um, because you shouldn't be that way. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the term dry drunk, and basically what a dry drunk is: somebody who got sober but they're still the same asshole. You know what I mean? Um, it happens to a lot of people because they think it's as simple as, I just got to put the bottle down. I just got to put the needle down. I just got to throw the pills down the toilet. It's not that simple. That's just the very beginning. It's actually small in the grand scheme of what you need to do to actually recover. Um, because we change our minds when you're in years of addiction and years of staying in that state of mind for so long. It changes who you are. And when you get clean and sober, you got to try to rid yourself of that old person. Not saying you got to be fake. Not saying you got to be phony. Um, you can still be you at your core, but you want to try to kind of wash away all those bad things about yourself, all those negative aspects about yourself. If you were, let's say for an example, you're an alcoholic, and when you drank, you were a violent person, or you were an angry person, or you were a destructive person, and then you get clean and sober, and you find yourself still being angry all the time. That's something you got to work on. Not the drinking, your anger. You see what I mean? The putting down the drink or putting down the drug is just so small in what you need to be doing. Um, I'm very involved in my church and community, along with working full time at a homeless shelter, 4 years sober, surrounding myself with positive people. Yeah, exactly. You got it. You got it figured out. I did the same thing. I volunteered for a Christian shelter for a little while. Um, it's kind of eye opening. Like I said, you think your life's so hard. There's somebody right there in your hometown that's got it way worse than you. Um, and being active in recovery. People always say that to keep it, you got to give it away. And a lot of people miss that part. A lot of people go to the meetings or, rehabs or halfway houses, and they just keep that same addict mentality. Take, 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 and they don't got nothing to give. They don't try to offer nothing in return. It ain't going to work. Recovery is a give and take. And in the beginning, obviously, you got to get your shit together, so you don't have a whole lot to offer when you're new. Um, but as you get some knowledge, there's going to be somebody else that's new. You know, um, when you're 6 months in, somebody else is going to be 24 hours in, and you should have learned a lot in 6 months that you have to offer that 24-hour person. You might not be able to offer a lot to the 20-year-old, 20-year in, 55-year-old, but you never know. You might. Times change, perspective changes. Um, we learn new things that maybe the older person might be kind of stubborn and not have picked up. He might not have picked it up, and you might have something to offer them too. You never know. Um, so recovery is all about give and take, and in order to keep your life full and keep yourself full, you have to empty out every once in a while too. You have to give yourself to other people sometimes, whether it be your family or your friends or recovery, or try to give in all aspects of your life and everything that you're good at, and it'll come back around to you. You know what I mean? Not in the direct sense that if I give you $20, I'm gonna find $20 on the street. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, energy. It's about energy. It's not about possessions or things. It's about energy. What type of vibe do you give off? What type of energy do you put out? How do you talk? What do you say about people when they're not around? What do you say to people when you see them? What do you think about people? That's a big thing too. Like, we are our thoughts. So what do you think about people? As much as you're not your thoughts set in place your action. So before you have an action, a lot of times you've had a thought. So if you can start to shift your thoughts, then you can start to shift your actions. And a lot of people, they don't get that. They don't pick up on that, and they don't really put a lot of thought into it because a lot of recovery stuff can be monotonous, and we can stay so stale in our recoveries. Like in our journeys, we can just do everything so black and white by the book. It's this way, it's this way, it's this way. When it's really wide open, your recovery is your recovery. How you want to walk through it and how you want to go about it is all up to you, and you can create your own program, your own design, because it's unique for every individual. If we did everything the way the old head said, then the only way you could get clean and sober is by going to meetings, because that's what they were all about. And I'm the type of person that meetings never worked for me. They made it worse for me. Um, and I know a lot of people who relate to that. There's some people who go to church and God is their moving force in their life. There's some people who are like me. They practice positive thoughts and positive speech, and they're all about that good energy, and that works for them. There's some people who just get super active in recovery. They try to get a career in it, something else. I want to do because it helps. If you're making yourself an example, then you're holding yourself accountable. If you don't have an example, if you're not making yourself an example, you don't really have anybody to be accountable to. So make sure that you keep that in mind. Make sure that you're holding yourself accountable by being a branch for somebody else. By being that branch for somebody else, if you fall, that means they're gonna fall too. So you gotta stay strong. You gotta stay positive. You gotta keep working. Um, yeah, I write poetry. I write other stuff too, but right now what I have going is I have a poetry book that I collaborated with my brother and my wife on, and I've been working on my piece of it for like a long time, like probably over 10 years, and I got probably like 120 plus writings that are going in it. I'm almost done the final, I'm almost done putting it together. Then I have to transfer it to Word, edit it, um, reorganize it, do my table of contents, paint my cover, and it'll be ready to go. So I'm hoping I can have it done within the next 30 days or so. It's going to be tight, but I should be able to get it done. And then when I get done that, I'm going to write my own recovery book. And then after that, I have a fitness ebook that I have outlined ready to go that I need to do too. So I got my work cut out for me. But mainly, I don't keep a journal. I'm not into all that, but I do write poetry a lot. And yeah, maybe one day I'll come on here and read something to y'all. Um, I can do that. It's not a big deal. If you add me on Facebook, I have a group page that's on my Facebook that you can also request to get into. It's called Lyricist, and we put a lot of our shit in there. But I kept a lot of stuff to myself because I didn't want to push out everything before the book came. But there's a lot of good material in there if you guys want to try to find it. Just request me on my personal page, and then you go to my page, you search Lyricist, and you should be able to find it. You click on it, and you can get added in. Or as soon as you friend request me, just inbox me and tell me to add you, and I can add you in. There's quite a few on there. Um, so anyway, yeah, I can do that sometime. I have to find a good one for y'all. I have to find one that's relatable. There's a lot of there's a lot of stuff in there about drinking because I wrote a lot of stuff in there when I was getting fucked up. I write a lot about heaven and hell and choices, and I write a lot about relationships, and you know um, some stuff is fantasy, some stuff I just you know get really creative on, but other stuff is like personal. Um, but no, I wouldn't mind doing it. Um, I just had to pick out a really good one for y'all, something that's real, like directly related to this, to recovery. It's sprinkled in most of my stuff because, like I said, I was drinking a lot when I was writing, so um, it's in there. But anyway, so basically, I don't want to get lost on the topic. So yeah, I'll make sure you get it. Trust me, I'm gonna put it on Amazon and try to get it on like a Kindle version put up and everything. Um, so I'm hoping I can get it done quick. But in the meantime, I'll let you get an idea of what my book's like. I'll add you when I get off here, and then I'll add you into the lyricist group, and you can go in there and read. Some of them I wrote, some of them my brother wrote. Most of them you can tell he shares it or I share it, and that's how you can tell who's who. Um, so yeah, I'll get you in there when I get done since you're interested. Um, and I don't want to lose sight on the topic. The sight on the topic that we're talking about today is basically you're in recovery, you're clean, you're sober, and you're starting to discover that your life is so much fuller. You almost get that moment in your life where you go, "Why the fuck did I wait so long?" Once you get clean and sober, you're kind of kicking yourself in the ass, like, why did I wait so long to get clean? Why did I wait so long to get sober? Look at all the shit I've accomplished in 1 year. Imagine what I could have done if I got sober 5 years ago. It, a lot of times it'll light a fire under your ass because you're like, I'm on the clock. I dicked around for 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, 20 years, however long, and I got to make up. I got stuff to do. And if you're that type of person where you get motivated, and you get inspired, you can get a lot done. Your life isn't over because you have a felony. Your life isn't over because you went to jail. Your life isn't over because you stole or you robbed somebody or you did some stupid shit or you OD'd one time or your life isn't over until it's over. And a lot of us, make a mistake and get down in a hole and we feel like our life is over. Like, no, just start. All you gotta do is start climbing. You'll get there at your own pace. You don't gotta go quick. You don't gotta go slow. You can, however you want to get there, you can get there. You see it all the time, and I just don't like that narrative where people say, "Oh, I'm a felon. I can't do anything." Yeah, you can. There's still plenty of shit out there for you to do. There's felons today that are making $20, $30 an hour. You just you're not looking. You're not really ready to try. You're already writing yourself off, so that way you don't have to do anything. You're excusing your way out of success, and you don't have to be unsuccessful just because you made some mistakes. Why don't you do yourself a favor and you know get on the internet and look up some celebrities, look up some rappers, some entertainers, some actors, some strong, powerful businessmen, and see where they came from. There's some of them who had the silver spoon, but there's a lot of them who started from fucking nothing. You know what I mean? I'm close to two people in my life right now who came from literally nothing. You think your life is hard. I thought I had a pretty hard life, and from a poverty standpoint, I can't hold a candle to what they went through. And they're super fucking successful, both of them. And they're personal. They're in my family. So I got two people right next to me. So why the fuck am I gonna sit here and make an excuse? Because of this or that, I can't be successful. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind and try to be grateful. You might not have the job you want right now, or you might not. You might have a hard day. You might get a craving. You might have some, issues with somebody you care about. But try to be grateful and look at the things that you don't have to worry about anymore. It's such a relief. Isn't it relieving? Like, you can take a deep breath and just be like, damn, man, I don't got to worry about none of that shit. I don't got to worry about getting pulled over by the cops. I don't got to worry about blacking out and crashing my car and, killing myself or somebody else. I don't have to worry about getting fired from my job because I'm getting fucked up too much. I don't have to worry about any of that shit. I don't have to worry about getting in a fight with my brother and, waking up with a busted hand and a black eye. I don't never got to worry about that shit no more. I don't got to worry about, you know, what I might do or where I might go or the things that I might get myself into when I'm in that wrong state of mind. You know what I mean? Because I'm always clear headed now. I'm always thinking straight. And a lot of our pain, we'll find that it's self created. We made it. And we dismiss our own responsibility and we try to blame it on our parents, or whoever, our boyfriend or our girlfriend. It's all their fault, right? Can't be that way in recovery. You gotta take responsibility for everything in your life, good or bad. Because ultimately, you have the power to change whatever you don't like about your life. So, um, just stay grateful. And if you don't like something, change it. If there's something you don't like about your life, try to change it. So, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to get my workout in. I'm going to go home, spend time with my daughters. Y'all have a good day. Like I said, if y'all need anything, please feel free. Send me a friend request. You can inbox me if you need something. I'm always available. I always respond. Might not be right away, but it will be before the end of the day, unless I'm asleep or something. But I'll always get back to you. So y'all stay clean, stay sober, even if it's just for the day. Thank you.